Hello, everyone, and good morning, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, along with my two sisters, Trish Carr and Susan Winner. And we are sisters, same mother, same father, grew up in Brooklyn, New York together, and we have the honor and privilege of working together, playing together, and being in this extraordinary community of Women's Prosperity Network. So a shout out to all the really amazing, committed, and heart-centered women out there who are part of our community or becoming part of our community, who are committed to making a difference, making a positive impact. So thank you for showing up and being part of our world. I want to make a couple of quick announcements about some happenings in the Women's Prosperity Network world, and then we'll bring on our guest today. So for those of you who would like to have a bigger impact and expand your reach in the most powerful way and also save time, which we're going to be talking about today with our guest, you want to join us this Friday and Saturday for our 2-day training called The Business of Speaking. And this is a combination of how to effectively communicate your message to groups, as well as the business behind the scenes. There's always two pieces of that, what getting your messaging right, and then knowing how to use this powerful tool of your voice and your message in your business to catapult your income. So we're going to be join us for that. Go to the website, womensprosperityNetwork.com. You'll get all the details. Sign up, get your ticket. It is absolutely the fastest way to reach more people and have a greater impact and more income when you combine all these pieces together. Next Tuesday, the third Tuesday of every month, we have Networking with a Twist, which is, the twist is that you get the opportunity not just to do swapping of names and, like chat, putting your info in the chat, but you get to build real connections. So there are 3 different rounds where you get to connect and really get to know people who may be future friends, collaboration partners, and even clients. So join us for that as well. And now I want to bring on our guest. So welcome, Alaina Schwartz. I'm so happy you're with us today.
I'm so delighted to be here with you. Thank you, Nancy.
It is wonderful. And I can't wait to learn some of the tips and tools that you're going to share with us on the topic of how to collapse time so that you work less and quantum leap your income. Who's ready for a quantum leap? Let me know, because I'm ready. And let me tell you a little bit about Alaina Schwartz, our guest.
Alaina.
Alaina, forgive me. Alaina Schwartz. She is an international speaker, best-selling author, and elite performance coach who is passionate about helping high achievers multiply their income and their impact while creating more time freedom. What we all want. After years of experience on the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, up and down it goes. She had become intimately familiar with sacrificing health and freedom to increase profitability. Now she uses cutting-edge tools to support her clients in making shifts at the DNA level, love that, to align with their purpose so they can move out of stress and into joyful and sustainable 7+ figure success, because no one needs to sacrifice to have it all. Well, I am certainly grateful you're here and looking forward to diving into our conversation today. Welcome.
Thank you. Me as well.
Yes. So I often say time is the great equalizer. No matter how successful, profitable, or kind of happy you are, we all are given the same number of hours every single day to play with.
Yep.
So show me how to play with my time differently, please.
Yeah. You know, Nancy, there's a really interesting thing, because I would bet that almost everybody on this call has been raised, because it's such a societal belief that we've been raised with the idea that we have to work hard to succeed. Right? That success comes at hard work, that you can't have anything really easy. And actually, most people even believe that something of value doesn't come easy, right? There's effort that comes with value. And so because of that, we all have these limiting beliefs around hard work and what it takes to actually be successful. And then you have people like gurus. So there's one piece of this that's the ancestral piece that's passed down to us. Like I know growing up, I heard my parents were, lower middle class income people. And they were like, okay, if you want more than we have, you've got to work hard for it, right? So I grew up with the idea that my entire life was going to be hard work to create the success I want. And before I even started coaching, I was a lawyer in the music industry in New York City, and I worked 60 to 80-hour weeks. And it burnt me out. It made me very physically ill. I mean, part of it was that I had put my ladder up against the wrong wall. But part of it was also because of this just go, work. Everything was work cycle, right? And as entrepreneurs, often we've been in corporate before, and we move away from that environment thinking we're going to create something different for ourselves, and then start doing the same things in our businesses that we were doing in corporate, but now we're our own bosses.
Let me tell you, you just told my exact story. So I too was in the legal field. I worked for an attorney general practitioner, and I ran everything. I was the main paralegal office manager. And then I was like, I'm getting freedom. I'm going to start my own business. And about 2 years in, so I had all the financial success. Things were going great. I had tons of clients, lots of business. And two, I was working myself 60, 80 hours a week. And I remember sitting in my desk one day in my office, my business, and I looked around and I went, oh crap, I just created the same job I just left.
Exactly. And that's what most entrepreneurs do. And I work with established entrepreneurs who are 6+ figure. So most of my clients are in the multi 6 or 7 figure range. And it's still the same issue. I have a 7+ figure client who literally is working 7 days a week, 10 to 14 hours a day. And that's like insanity. And when I help my clients liberate time, like I have this client who's a wealth manager, and I helped her, she was working about 12 hours a day, and I helped her go down to 6 or 7. And she called me one day and she's like, Alaina, I don't know what to do with myself. And I said, what did you do with yourself before? Like, how did you have a life before? She's like, I've never had a life. Like, as I said, I've gone from corporate to this, and I've always been doing it this way. I've never had a life, so I don't really know what to do with myself, which is a quality problem we all should have, right? Actually, I do have that. That is how my life is, right? So the other way it comes in is like you talk about the societal guru aspect. So people like, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, or Gary Vee, or even Elon Musk, they glorify this idea of the hustle culture. And they will say, if you are not having the success you want in your business, then you're not working hard enough, right? Gary Vee has said that on multiple occasions. And so we all are inundated with this information about what it takes to be successful. So the first thing that we have to unravel are the limiting beliefs that are creating self-sabotage around having it be easy. Right? Because it's not meant, like the universe in and of itself. When we look at the universe is ever expanding. Everything in the universe, everything in nature is encoded with its purpose and with the way to make it successful. And we are part of nature. So we have been encoded with our purpose and the way to make that absolutely successful without any resistance. There's no resistance there, with ease and grace. And yet, because we're resisting it because of these subconscious blocks, we are creating these time gremlins that are absolute time sucks. Right? So now that I've given you the overall picture, the first thing I do, like I'm a DNA certified healer. And what that means is energetically, I can tune into your DNA. I can tune into your subconscious mind. I can see what blocks and limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging patterns are there, and I can clear it for you. But then I also believe in not only giving somebody a fish, but teaching them how to fish, right? So then I teach you how to tap into your higher self and use this infinite energy energy, this all-knowing energy that is absolutely a part of us, to go into your own subconscious mind and clear the blocks themselves. So that has to be the first step. And so a lot of people understand various different mindset tools and techniques, and whatever the ones are that you use, getting into the subconscious mind and really being able to clear those limiting beliefs around having to work hard, not deserving it easy, right? Because how many times did you want things as a kid and then you didn't get those things? But it's not that you didn't get those things. You were cut down in a specific way for almost wanting those things in the first place, right? And so many people believe they're not even deserving of that level of wealth, prosperity, and ease in their life. So all those limiting beliefs are actually creating our time issues that we're having and causing us to overwork rather than allowing us to create the same amount, because they've done studies, and the average 8-hour workday, and I know most of the people here are working way longer than 8 hours, but the average 8-hour workday, we're only actually productive 3.5 to 4 of those hours. So what's happening in those other 4 to 4.5 hours? Busy work, procrastination, distraction, right? That's what's happening. But we're not focused on income producing, needle moving action. Right. So the other thing about that's really key is that they've actually done studies that you start to be inversely productive after 50 hours. And after 55 hours, you're basically no more productive than you were working at 50 hours or less than 50 hours. Right. And other studies recently that have said that over 55 hours is greater risks for all kinds of the major diseases, 29% increase in death. Right. So you're literally working yourself to death. So
I got to tell, I agree with all of that you're sharing, and the looming question that's got to be happening in the minds of our listeners, because it's playing in my head a little bit, but I have so much to do. How am I going to get it all done? Like that, that pace to make sure you get it all done, that harried energy. And so speak to that one, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay, I love that. So the harried energy, this fear that you'll never get it done, the fear that you're not going to be successful if you don't do all that you need to do. Can you feel the energy in that? Right? It's not conducive energy to be able to tap into higher levels of intelligence, inspiration, creativity, new ideas. Right? So one of the first things that I help my clients do is really understand that when you're working from your sympathetic nervous system, everything you're doing is taking you 2 to 4 times longer than it should, right? Because we don't have the presence. We're not present when we're harried, when we're rushing, when we're in fear that it's not going to get done, when we're exhausted and overwhelmed, right? We cannot be present and in focus to get stuff done. And I'm going to give you an example. Like, I used to dread writing content, for social media. And several years ago, I was working with a coach, and it literally would take me 2 hours to write a post. Like, I was a perfectionist. I had to have it right. I wasn't sure about my voice, and then I had a coach say to me, okay, you need to put out three posts a week minimum. And I was like, oh my God, that's now 6 hours in my week that I've added. And it was so stressful for me. It was so stressful, Nancy. And so one of the things that I realized, because this is about the time that I started to really get a handle on time. And I started to go, okay, what can take me from my head, where I am in my head, into my body? What are the top 3 things that I do that take me from my head into my body? And for me at the time, it was dancing, it's coaching, because I'm very present when I coach, and it's meditating, right? But I wasn't about to sit and do a meditation every time I needed to get into my body to actually be able to get work done. So I'd crank up a tune and I'd start dancing, and then I'd sit down and I'd write. And within a month, I went from it taking 6 hours to write those 3 posts to it taking an hour and a half. I just collapsed time, right? And I see this with my clients all the time when I help them move from their sympathetic nervous system into their parasympathetic nervous system. So they're operating from a place of flow. You cannot get into flow. You're in hustle mode. Hustle is the opposite of flow. It is that harried energy. It is that pushing, grinding hard energy, right? Excuse me, where flow is that feminine, softer, moving with energy. right? And so the thing that I help my clients do is get into flow and get out of hustle. But part of the way to do that, there's a second piece to that. The first part is moving from the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system. So understanding what does that for you and being able to do that on a regular basis in between your day and things if you need, like if you set a focus block, for example, right before you sit down to do the focus block, do it so that you're far more present in your body and able to then focus on the task at hand. Now, here's the other thing that I have my clients do. I was talking about tuning into your higher self, right? So your higher self is the seat of your intuition. And I know that everyone here, when they've gotten an intuitive hit, whether it be at a 3 a.m. genius moment or in the shower or on a walk or something like that. Now, what do those three things have in common? You're in your parasympathetic nervous system. You're allowing that information to come through. Right. So when we're allowing that information to come through, we actually have the ability to tap into our intuition on demand. And when we follow the guidance of our intuition, it makes actually working in our business effortless, because your higher self will tell you exactly what strategies to use that will move the needle forward, exactly what you're meant to be doing that day so you stay in flow, exactly who you need to be talking to or what other things you need to be reaching out for. It will guide you in your business like your best business coach, but it's your own personal business coach so that you are staying in flow on a consistent basis.
Loving this so much. And so one of the first things I heard is find that strategy that's best for you, that technique to get you back in your flow state. So, and I would often say, like, if I was feeling stuck or frustrated, if I was writing or whatever task I was needing to do that wasn't moving forward, sometimes I'll go stop and take a shower. Sometimes, like you, I crank up the music and get things moving. I might call a friend and just have a check-in call for a little bit. It's like, unplug for a minute from all of the chaos to plug inside is what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, exactly. Plug into something that removes you from the stress. Go for a walk outside. Nature, it's pretty cliche, but nature is an equalizer of energy. Trees in particular. So trees are emitters of self-love. Unconditional love, not self-love, unconditional love. So they give unconditional love freely. And so being in nature actually helps rejuvenate your energy. It helps refuel your soul. So go for a walk in nature, like even a 5 or 10 minute walk will do like people are like, I don't have the time to do that. And I would say you don't have the time not to, because otherwise you're going to keep grinding out and it'll take forever to get something done, rather than taking that 10 minutes, refueling yourself, coming back into your own energy, into your own body, and then sitting down and doing it. And you'd be amazed at what'll happen with your time then.
I agree 1,000%. And what I'm curious about is, for some of us, this is not the first time we've heard this advice. And yet the computer, the tasks, the to-do list still keeps us chained basically to operating in the same mode. What strategy do you have for us to use to catch ourselves in that moment where, like, to recognize when you're not in a flow state, and then to take an action that's different? So how can we remind ourselves to use these strategies? I guess it's a question.
Yeah, awareness is really key, because you can feel when things feel hard. Like, I know everybody who's listening right now has had some moment where they've been in flow, right? Athletes call it the zone. Right? There's been some moment where you've just felt like, oh, this is effortless. Like, this feels really good. Like, resources just show up, opportunities seem to show up. It's just like effortless creation. We move into absolute effortless creation. And so you understand what that feels like. And if it feels like it's hard, if you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm dreading this, if you're feeling like this is exhausting, then you're not in flow. Right? You're not in flow. It should not feel hard. Life isn't meant to be hard. Like it's only our ego minds that make it hard. Life isn't meant to be hard. So when we remove the ego mind, I mean, that's one of the things that I help people do, Nancy, is understand how you are operating your life typically from your ego mind, right? Which is the subconscious programming, rather than from what's actually in your highest good, from a higher self perspective. And when we start operating our lives and following that intuitive guidance, following the GPS guidance of our higher selves, our lives become, literally, they become effortless. Like I can tell you, when I encounter small little glitches in my life, I'm like, ooh, this doesn't feel good, because this isn't the way my life normally is. You know, my life just flows easily. Things just seem to open up easily. And I don't get thrown when those things happen, you know, anymore. But I'm just like, what am I doing that's creating this? You know, it makes me go inside, like, because we are our creators of our reality. Whether it sucks or it's absolutely fabulous, you put it there. And the more that we can take 100% responsibility for our creations and say, okay, if it sucks or I'm just not getting the results I want, I am a powerful, badass being and I have the power to change it too. So let me focus on why I'm creating this. What is the drivers? It always comes back to the subconscious drivers that are creating this pattern over and over again. And then it will allow you, as you unpack that, to actually be able to experience something different, more of what you want.
So good, so good. And when you started talking about the ego mind that ends up running the show, another story that I see myself tell occasionally and clients tell is, but if I pull back, the whole house of cards is going to fall down.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
high achievers, like part of our success pattern is being disciplined and taking the commitment, moving things over, staying focused and, driving, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've been through times in my life where I was like, I can't let go of the wheel though. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So I'd love to hear some tips on that.
Yeah, I love this. So one of my life lessons is control. So I totally get this, right? So
I
there's
had a
couple.
feeling there was some commonality there.
Yeah. So all the high achievers that come to me, they've got control issues, right? So where did that come from? It came from someplace in your childhood that felt unsafe to be you, the way, like, you weren't received as it was okay to be authentically you. It happens typically. It's not like parents are terrible for doing this, but essentially we've learned from a very, very young age what we need to do to conform to get the love and approval that we needed when we were young.
Yes.
Right. And so because of that, we've learned to be very controlling of our environment to make sure that our needs got met. Because being who we were and just asking for things the way we didn't get our needs met. You know, we were these big, bright, shiny lights, and probably a little too big and bright and shiny for our parents at the time, because what happens is we mirror back where they're not being bright and shiny anymore. And parents have a lot of difficult time dealing with that. So they tend to quash the light. And in the process of quashing the light, we learn how to get our needs met, but it's from controlling our environment. So we become controlling along the way. So this has to be unraveled again from the subconscious perspective, or else it's like you grip the wheel, you white knuckle the wheel, right? Yeah. You white knuckle the wheel. Now, here's the other thing that high achievers typically have is that we tend to get our self-worth from our net worth and our achievements. Yeah. Right? So we've connected the two. We believe we're worthy when we're constantly achieving, because that's typically how we got validated growing up. Right? So many of my clients were the golden children in their family. There was so much pressure put on them. I know that for me, I got in a lot of trouble when I didn't get straight A's. There was so much pressure on me academically, so much pressure on me to go to law school, right? To be that high achiever, that I put that pressure on myself now. I've taken over where my parents left off. And for years, I put that pressure on myself. But here's the thing, because your self-worth has nothing, well, let me reverse it. Your net worth has nothing to do with your self-worth, but your self-worth has everything to do with your net worth.
Ooh, that's a writer downer. So your net worth
has nothing to do with your self-worth. Nothing to do at all, but your self-worth has everything to do with your net worth.
Good.
Right? Because here's the thing. Our accomplishments don't make us fantastic, wonderful, amazing beings. It has nothing to do with it. You were born that way. You were born a fantastic, amazing being. You were born worthy. You were born lovable. You were born deserving. Nothing you do makes you that. You're not a doing, you're a being. Right? So this is who we be. This is part of our nature of who we be. Now you have a purpose. You came as a purpose to fulfill something, but however little or big it is, you fulfilled it. The desire to expand is the universe's desire to expand, but it doesn't make us wrong, unworthy, because we're not achieving what we want to achieve. However, the more worthy you believe you are, the more self-love you have, the faster money magnetizes to you, right?
Can I get an amen?
Yeah.
And many of us on the call right now are doing a program that I have called Receiving Your Riches, which is based upon Wallace Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich.
Mm-hmm.
You may be familiar with it. I figured you would be. And this is exactly what he's talking about. Is there's an inherent, desire to expand and to grow, and you're inherently worthy to receive all that's here for you.
It's your birthright.
Yeah, and I love when you said in the beginning of our call today, when you were talked about the seed and is planted inside of you with what your purpose is, what that desire seeking expression is, with the formula to get you there.
Yes, absolutely. Because the acorn, look at the acorn. Like people will say, okay, the acorn's encoded to be an oak tree. No, the acorn's encoded to be an entire forest. Right? it doesn't think little. It's not thinking I'm small. Only humans think I'm small, right? An acorn knows it has the potentiality of an entire forest. That's what it's been encoded with.
I love that.
And that's what we've been encoded with too, right? Yeah. So when we step into this knowingness of who we actually are, which again goes back to reprogramming our subconscious mind for who we believed we are meaning-making machines, Nancy, right? So things happen in our experience and we're just projecting meanings onto the experience. That's all we're doing. We're making it good. We're making it bad. We made a mistake, right? And we're making it that we're a mistake. We failed. There is no such thing as failure. It's just data, information, and feedback. But now we're making it that we're a failure. Right? And those are the things that are holding us back because, like, for example, you think about nature. If a deer is outrunning a coyote, assuming it outruns it, within 20 minutes later, it is back grazing in its parasympathetic nervous system. Now, if that story happened to us, for days we'd be telling everybody about it. We'd be in therapy about it. 10 years later, we'd still be having PTSD about it, right? That's how we operate rather than going back to the nature, because we've made a meaning about that. And because of the meaning, we're embedding it into our DNA.
Yeah. I love where you're coming from. Dr. Smile Roz says, tree chilling. Well, let's do this. Time has flown as we are together today, really drinking in all from our wonderful guest. And I want to give our audience an opportunity to ask some questions. And I'm suspecting there'll be quite a few. While I get that piece of the show set up, I know that you've got an amazing gift to share with all of us. So if you could describe that, and then we'll get the link put in the chat and we'll go from there.
Yes. So as you can hear, I'm a very passionate woman. I'm really passionate about helping people shave time. Having, what I did in my law practice was basically 60 to 80 hour work weeks. And as Nancy and I were talking about, I did that in the beginning of my coaching too. So I became a time master because I was so passionate about helping us all really work less, helping us all work with our energy rather than against our energy. And so I've created a mini course that is 5 ways to shave 20 to 30 hours off your work week while making more money. And in this mini course. It's a four module. It's about an hour long, the mini course, but it literally is a condensed version of what people pay me upwards of $50,000 to help them do with their lives. So I encourage you all to grab that. And Nancy, you're going to put the link in. Do I have to say the link or?
Yeah, say the link, because we've got several people that are here only on the phone. So we want to make sure
okay.
Okay. Well.
It is https://www.alainaschwartz.com. That's ALAINASCHWARTZ.com
There we go. So you're going to do www.Alaina Schwartz, which is ALAINASCHWARTZ.com/time. And I'll be sure to put that link. It's in the chat right now. I'll also make sure that everybody on Facebook has access to it as well. And this is a 5-part series, you said?
It's a 4-part series that teaches 5 ways.
Got it.
Series. There's 4 videos that teaches 5 ways.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We've got several people in queue with questions. I'm going to start with Roz. Good morning. Your line is open.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Alaina. You are loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished, all in my vault of verbiage.
So appreciated.
DNA,
Thank
cellular,
you, Roz.
even the ego. So the question is, in your study, you may have to repeat the part about the ego. I lost my best friend, Dr. Japonica, who wrote a book, the U team, which means your own uniqueness. And we were working and teaching, and even with the Smile platform, Simply Make Intentional Love Encounters, that we become a team with the ego. Because if I try to destroy my ego, then I would no longer be here neither. So I wanted to hear that portion that you shared with the ego, and you and me might have to do a private conversation, but I just wanted to hear what you said about that again. I think I was moving too much around on that part when you were sharing. If you can recall that.
I do, but I didn't go into what you want. So I'm going to tell you what you actually want to hear. So here's what the ego mind is, right? So do you remember those projectors that you had when you were in school that had like this film that you would put over the light and then it would shine that film onto a board? Okay. So the film is actually your subconscious programming, and what it's shining onto the board is actually your reality. But what's doing the shining? The ego. Right? So the ego is actually the light that's shining through the film, that's projecting your subconscious mind, that's creating your reality. It isn't technically the subconscious programming. It's just projecting your subconscious programming. And I'm going to get a little deep here, but it's actually even part of our DNA. You are correct in that we cannot survive without our ego. Our ego keeps us growing. Without our ego, we would just stagnate because it's constantly mirroring back to us our programming so that we get to see our programming. We don't realize that actually what it's doing is pretty benevolent. We think of it as malevolent, but it's actually pretty benevolent because it's just mirroring back to us what we believe about ourselves from our experiences, from our circumstances, so that we wake up and go, oh, this is what I'm believing. Let me heal that. Right? So that's what it's doing. But most people haven't been trained in this work. So when they experience crap in their circumstances, they turn that on themselves and think they're crap. They don't realize that, oh, this is just showing me what's going on in your results don't lie. Your results will show you exactly what's going on in your circumstances. So when you get to look at that, then you go, oh, thank you, ego, for projecting that. Right. And then you get to go into your subconscious mind and clear the shiz out of your biz. So you don't have to experience that anymore. Right. So you get to cruise and stay in flow instead. But you are 100% correct that that's what the ego is.
Good deal. Okay. I needed that. And you know what? Even though mom and dad wanted you to be a lawyer, I feel that those skill sets worked very well into your new life of where you are now. So thank you so much. You are loved.
Delighted.
Yield the
Thank
mic.
you. Sending love to you, Raz.
Awesome. Great question. Great answer. I love the analogies that you use because it's like, bam, yeah, I can get it. That is so good. So good. All right. Thank you, Dr. Roz. Let's go next. Yeah, that was very good. Vanessa Donaldson, why don't you go ahead and open up? We love that statement. Clear the shiz out of your biz.
I know. Thank you, ladies.
Vanessa,
Thank you so much, Nancy. Good morning. Oh my gosh, I'm writing it down. Clear the shiz out of your biz. Yeah, this is me.
Good morning,
and
Vanessa.
good morning, Alaina. And I've had a one-on-one with you too. I remember I was like in the bathroom at a VFW or something, and I'm like, I'm busy right now, but I wanted to connect with you. So it's just amazing how when we really reflect on our childhood, like I'm really still uncovering this for myself, and we end up coaching ourselves that are a younger version. You know, this is why I'm attracting high performers, I think, because I was the oldest, and then parents had the divorce, and I was, you know, the responsible one and the one that put everything together, and the one that was working on the straight A's. And you know, it's like a mirror. I'm like, oh my gosh, Alaina's like 10 steps ahead of where I was, you know, when looking back at my childhood self. So once we clear that, yeah, I'm sure that has a lot of issues to do. I think we talked about, you know, my money block issues too. So that has a lot to do with it, the childhood thing. But thank God,
to do with it.
thank God for nature, right? Like doing the van life, the pandemic, you know, pushed us into this nomadic lifestyle, and going into nature and being around the trees, like you were talking about all that at the beginning. That's where I find my peace. That's where I get my grounding. That's what resets me. So I'm glad I've got the nature thing going, and I'm on the right track with the van life, because sometimes, you know, people are like, what's she doing, the van life? And it's a little woo woo. And how does that connect to my productivity? But it was so nice to hear you, how you clearly, you know, eloquently stated how going into nature and being around the trees and the energy from the trees and all that really does affect your productivity. I mean, I'm starting to read about it more. And but the way you verbalize it and all that. So I'm just going to stick with my van life thing, because, you know, that's what you need to slow down in order to speed up. I mean, I make comments like that and people are like, I don't get it. What do you mean slow down? But yeah, thank you. I'm just glad there's another one out there.
You're welcome. I didn't used to get that either. I move at a fast pace. I think at a fast pace. I do at a fast pace. And I don't get the slow down thing either, but I have to tell you, it really works, right? Because the hustling from the moving fast, like one of the things that I've had to do a lot of clearing for me personally is that speed is better. Right. So that was a big limiting belief for me, that speed is better, that somehow going that fast, moving that fast, creating that fast is better than not. And it's not that sometimes it isn't, but it's the belief that I need to go fast, right? It's the belief that I need to create fast, that I don't move slowly. I don't create slowly in my life. This is what I need to do. And anytime you have a need, anytime you have a want, it is the ego, not you, because what need and want actually says is I don't have it. I don't have it, right? Whereas in truth, in real truth, you have everything you want or need. That's in real truth. You may not see it in your physical reality yet, but it's already been created. And so what we're telling the universe when we're saying, I need that, I want that, is I don't have it. And the universe just gives you more feelings of needing and wanting. It doesn't give you the thing you want or need, right? So yeah, I love that.
So true.
Thank you, Vanessa.
And I was going to say, I did a LinkedIn post on being, and if you research being, to be it's an active action word. So people don't understand, like you have to be doing, but no, being is just as active. It's actively kind of doing nothing, but that's just as important. So being and doing, I love it. Thank you, ladies.
So good. Love it. Love it. So good. All right. And thank you, Vanessa. I want to remind everyone to number one, say thank you to Alaina's generosity, and be sure to go to her website, which is www.alainaschwartz.com/time. And let me spell that for you, which is www.ALAINASCHWRTZ.com/time. I'm going to grab it. I know that. And that's part of it too, is like, there's opportunities for us to improve not just our efficiency, but really it's about improving our lives.
Yes.
And so I've overcome and mastered lots of these things. Don't I want to clear out whatever's there and use those extra tools? So wherever you are on the spectrum, quantum leap, let's collapse some more time. Maybe you're already successful in having done it in this way. Would you like a new way? I know I'm ready.
An easier way.
And
an easier way. That's really the thing, because, you know, we make life so much harder than it has to be. It isn't meant to be hard. And when we stop following when we start following the guidance and stop following our ego mind's guidance, because here's the thing, your ego mind only knows the past. It isn't made from truth. It isn't made from the same matter of truth. It only knows the past, right? And what are limiting beliefs? Untruths we came to believe about ourselves or life. That's all it is. So your higher self will help you plant in the seeds of truth in your subconscious mind to neutralize those limiting beliefs. And so you can follow a different path, a path of ease and grace. Whereas your ego mind will only have you loop around and around, like being on a hamster wheel, because it knows as long as I keep doing this, I'm going to survive. I know how to survive these patterns. They may suck. I might not like them, but I know I'm going to survive. Whereas when you start moving out of the path from and get out of your comfort zone, it doesn't know it's going to actually survive it. So it wants to keep sucking you back into your comfort zone. And that's where self-sabotage patterns come in. And that's why most people are actually following, even if you're successful, you're probably still following the guidance of your ego mind, right? And when you actually start following the guidance of your higher self, it is absolute grace.
It is. Yes, yes, yes. All right, let's go ahead. We got time for a few more questions. Adele Alexander.
Hi, can you hear me?
Beautifully. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, I don't know. Can I get on the video? Not. Okay.
No video, just.
Okay, great.
We can hear you.
Hi, Adele.
Hi, Alaina. Hi, Nancy. Well, just wonderful. I want you to know you guys are the reasons I got out of bed this morning, because it's a little chilly here in Florida, so we're nesting. But at any rate, everything you said was just so interesting to me. And the main thing that caught my attention was your sentence, intuition on demand, because my intuition is 95% correct. However, I do not know how to activate it on request. It just seems to pop up at the oddest times. And I really, really would like to know how to, a method, you know, a way to get it to work for me when I need it to work for me. So more often. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It takes me hours to teach my clients how to do that. So I can't teach this to you in like a couple of minutes. Happy to talk to you off this channel, you know, about how to do that. But the one thing I'm going to say is that your intuition is 100% accurate. It's not 95% accurate. It's just you're not filtering it in 100% accurately, right? And that's the difference, because sometimes the ego mind will get in the way of filtering that information in. So when it's popping up at the oddest times, it's because what's happening is you're allowing it in those moments. It's not, you're like not in resistance in those moments. So one of the keys is to get out of resistance from doing it, but it is about building this connection with your higher self. And then like different people, now I don't know how your intuition comes to you, but there's a variety of different ways that that intuition can come through to people. So for example, when I'm tuning in for myself, I'm primarily auditory. So it comes to me as if somebody's talking in my head, but I do get visuals as well. When I tune into my clients or other people, I can be auditory, visual, or it just comes through as a knowing where I just know it. But sometimes I also get that kinesthetic where it's just a feeling sense about it. So I have had clients where when they were first learning to tap into their intuition on demand, they just saw colors and they were like, I'm not getting anything. And I was like, you're getting something. I could tell you're getting something. I could feel that you were getting something. And they're like, and I was like, okay, are you seeing colors? And they're like, oh yeah, I see colors. And I was like, okay, when you do this exercise, tell me what's happening. Okay, I'm bringing in self-belief. And as I'm bringing it up, I see that it's red. And as I'm infusing it, it turns purple. Perfect. And the more they got comfortable understanding and accepting, oh, that's just how their intuition is coming to them, then or how their true self is coming through to them, then before they knew it, like literally within about 10 minutes, they were starting to get knowing. So they got really much clearer. So the key is to continue to practice it and trust it. Like, here's the thing. If you get 10 intuitive hits and only 8 turn out to be correct, and the other 2 came from ego, the more that you can trust. And because here, most of the people that I talk to are getting some intuitive hits, but they're not following it. And why aren't they following it? Because it's like, oh, that's stupid. Well, oh, that's stupid. Where's that coming from? The ego mind, the subconscious mind. Oh, that'll never work. Right. How am I going to get there from here? Right. Yeah. It's like all that silliness that comes up. But if you actually just go, oh, I just got that intuitive hit, I'm going to trust its intuition and lean into it. It will help develop it more and more. It will help make it stronger.
Really good.
Wow.
Good stuff, Adele.
Yes, and I'm very intrigued to do more of this because my intuition, it's just so wonderful, but I've never been able to, I don't know if the right word is harness it, or as you say, trust it 100%. So yes, I'm very intrigued.
Yes, would love to have a chat with you, Adele.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Great. I love this. And everyone is loving this today. So thank you so much. And we've got a question in the chat. So I'm going to share this one with you. I'm currently in the valley of decision of leaving my state job. I loved working at my agency. However, in the past 3 years, my internal self has been pressing on me that it's time to leave. How do I lock in or determine what I should be doing? Like, what's my talent? Like, so there's this internal nudge, right? That's saying, and then the ego mind is probably saying, no, but you got to keep your paycheck and hold on.
Right. Safety. The ego mind is all about, we've been raised with safety, right? So that's part of the reason I became a lawyer, is because for my parents, it was a safe bet for me to be a lawyer rather than whatever else I wanted to do. So that is the key. So yeah, we are driven by safety. Our schools teach us how to be safe and how to have safe jobs, stay in those jobs basically forever. And that's what we're supposed to do. So the key really is to quiet your mind. Now, I can't really teach these skills right here, right now, but tuning into your higher self will tell you exactly what to do. I mean, that's why I really love this work, is because it takes the guesswork out. You stop second guessing yourself. So that's really the key, is you really stop second guessing yourself by being able to tune in and go, what's really in my highest good to do in this situation? How would I do that? What would the next step be for me? Right. So part of the issue, I feel like, is you feel like you need to know the whole plan, right? Like you need to know how this is going to be successful for you, and you need to know the whole plan. Well, the universe rarely gives us the whole plan. The universe gives us the first step. And so it's about trusting. I know. Yeah, it's the trust walk, right? It's the trust walk. So it's about, okay, I'm going to trust that I'm going to step on this stepping stone, and that there'll be another stepping stone or maybe you watched, the Indiana Jones movie with the trust bridge, right? Where he had to take that step and leap into what seemed like to be a chasm, and then it ended up being an invisible bridge. That is what the universe does for us, is it wants to know that we are trusting ourselves, right? You have to build that trust with yourself to go, wow, I'm powerful. And even if this didn't work out, I'm going to be okay. Right. But we put so much on whether or not we're going to be okay. What's going to happen if we give up that paycheck? Now, if you're getting the calling that there is this almost like pressure to move out of this, then just really sit in meditation is what I'd recommend. As I can't teach you this, sit in meditation with the intention, before you start to meditate, in quieting your mind of what is the first step that I need to take for me to move in this direction. That's it. What's the first step?
And one of the things that I've done in those times, because back when I, had that business where I woke up and I was like, oh no, I just created a job for myself, even though it's my own company. I wanted to get out of it, but I didn't know how to do that. I had my entire family worked for me in my business. Oh yeah, I'm going to close shop and go do something else and put my family out of work too. Like I really boxed myself in, or so I thought. And a couple of things I did is I started focusing on the things that I enjoy doing, that I do naturally, that make me happy. Hidden within that is oftentimes what your giftedness and the path for you to follow. And the other piece that I did is I got into service and I started volunteering. And in that space of service is where I was relaxed enough to see things in a new way. So those are some of the things that helped me when I transitioned from my corporate existence to the life that I now get to live, which is, beyond my dreams.
There's one other thing that I would say about that, Nancy, which is that oftentimes it's the things that are effortless for us that we don't realize aren't effortless for other people.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So being able to identify those things, because we tend to do things in our sleep that we don't realize, no big deal, that we don't realize is a really big deal for other people. They don't do that. Right. And so being able to identify those kinds of things, if you've heard from people, oh my God, how do you do that? Right. Then that will give you some indication as well.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right. We got a couple more people in queue and a question also in the chat. How many hours a day of work would you say is optimal?
Great question. That is, I would say, individual dependent on you. Now, I can tell you that I work about 25 hours a week. I take Fridays off. I have my CEO hours, so I don't start working till 11 a.m. And there are days where my higher self tells me it's too long. And then there are days where I might work a little longer than that. So I'm feeling into the energy consistently. Here's the thing. This is the thing that I've come to understand, which, from our ego mind perspective can be really scary. Whatever I put a stake, I've stopped planning. Like, I understand there's something that I teach my clients very advanced work to do called future projections, which we can actually go into our future and understand what we're meant to be focusing on. That's actually in our highest good rather than the goal setting that ego has us do. So that when we're focused on doing certain things, that we understand we're doing it from a highest good perspective rather than focusing on, again, what our ego minds say.
Or I have to pay the bills. Or I
have to pay the bills. Exactly. That's all ego. That's all ego, right? Yeah. So what happens is you have to always hold that lightly because timelines are shifting constantly. And so what might be in my highest good to do right now today might not be in my highest good to do tomorrow. And so being aware of the shifting of the energy and being willing to be unattached to everything I'm doing and flow with it is the key that helps keep me, that keeps me in flow, but keeps me working at the level that I'm working now rather than overworking. And I know that wasn't a very satisfying answer. I apologize that isn't a very satisfying answer.
That was awesome.
But that's the answer.
That's the answer. All right. And let me encourage everyone to go to alainaschwartz.com/time. And you do need to put the www.alainaschwartz.com/time. And of course, the replay will be in our Facebook group and you'll be able to access the link there as well. All right, let me go. We got a couple of more hands raised. Barbara Johnson, I saw your hand up. Did you still have a question?
Well, I had a statement, but she moved on from what she was talking about. So I put my hand down.
Oh, good.
She was talking about doing things that you don't realize are hard for someone else. And I know it sounds weird. And now I know it sounds weird. When I first got started, I got my accounting degree after getting out of the military and a bunch of other things. But I loved doing taxes. And I sat there and I would do tax. I used to say I can do taxes in my sleep. To me, it's a logical, it's the most fun thing in the world. And I never thought anything about it until people started telling me, you're weird. To me, it was the most fun time of the year. And they're like, you're just weird. And after a while, I realized, okay, taxes to me is relaxing. Most people, it's not. Got it. Right. But it's something that struck on me because I was very much that way. If I want to relax, tax season comes around, I'm like, oh, cool. This is great.
Really good. So Barbara, thanks for sharing that. And you actually spawned a little question for me. So in scaling and growing a business, what I have found is sometimes the things that I love actually some of them need to be delegated to someone else.
Yep. Yep.
Right. So actually doing tax returns, if you're the one only doing tax returns, how do you scale that?
Yeah.
Right. So
Right. If you're the one only doing
building-
tax returns,
Yeah.
then you hire other people who also can do tax returns so you can take on more clients. Here's the thing about that. I have had this conversation with myself many times because I really love coaching and I don't want to give up coaching. And I know that people will say, oh, to be able to have a scalable business, you have to be able to walk away from your business and have it run without you. And to a certain extent, you know, I have other coaches who work with me as well. So they can, you know, if I miss, you know, a weekly Q&A, for example, my weekly group office hours, I could have other people handle it for me if I do that. But I really love to do it. I'm not giving it up. My business wouldn't matter to me if I wasn't doing this work. So the key for me to scale is to be, and this is the key for anyone, is to be able to, like, I was helping somebody with a cleaning service the other day, help scale her business. She's still doing the cleaning. If she wants to do the cleaning, she can do the cleaning. But it's how many people are you going to hire to continue to do cleaning for you as well, so you're making money off of them. That's what makes it scalable.
Right.
So it's creating products and services and team members that help you distribute the work so that it's not all on you.
Great answer. Right, Barbara?
Yeah, that is really the key, because like here, when I talk to people about scaling, I will say you should be doing no more than 5 things in your business as the CEO, and you should absolutely love and be really good at those 5 things. Right? That's the key. 5 things that you love to do that you're really good at. Everything else should be delegated.
Yeah.
Only if you want a life. If you don't want a life, right? If you don't want a lifestyle business, then have at it, do it all. But if you actually want a lifestyle business, then that's what I'd recommend.
We are sisters cut from the same cloth, my friend. It's so great that we got this time together, as is everyone joining us today. So I want to remind everyone, go and grab her course, connect with Alaina, go to alainaschwartz.com/time. I'm going to put it in the chat one more time for everyone. And also we got one final question. Do you think the course will help? I'm currently in the process of determining what new profession to specialize in.
Yeah, I do. So I'm going to also speak to the comment right before that as well, but I'll answer Jackie's question. Here's the thing about it. Like it was so phenomenal when I first started coaching that I had hired a coach who basically said, start a lifestyle business when you start your business. Right? I understood that then. And there was a period of time. So I'll share a little bit of my personal story. I created 6 figures in 7 months in my first year of coaching. And then I had this pattern where I'd make a lot of money and then trash it. And so I literally tanked my business and went into massive debt, and the shame and the guilt perpetuated this cycle for a little bit. And what happens when I used to go back into the cycle of like, oh my God, I need to make this happen, is I work harder. So then I went back into that hard work. I created a lifestyle business to begin with, and then I went back into like working all the time. And so I had to reclaim the time. And honestly, I'm really glad I did, because it really taught me to understand how to help people do this in a way that I didn't understand for myself before. But if you can learn how to do this from the beginning, so you're clearing out, again, the shiz from your biz, right? If you're clearing that out from the beginning, so you're not taking that into a new business model, then you can start it the right way and there is really no right or wrong, but in a lifestyle way to begin with. Now, the other thing that I want to say is there was a comment before is I love my work so much that sometimes I don't want to stop. Here's the thing, like, I'm not suggesting not to love your work, but you're meant to be a whole human being. You have purposes in various different aspects of your life, not just your work, in family life, in your health and other things. And what I typically see, and I'm not saying that this is the case for you, but what I typically see is that we've created our identity around our business, right? So it feeds who we believe we are. And we get so much of that feeding that we don't want to stop being in our business. And the key is to disconnect from your identity, from your business, and know you can love it. But I am sure that there are plenty of other things in your life that you would love also to be doing.
Well done. So good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. I know that you're filled up with a new way of looking at things so that you can enjoy more of life, more of business, and more ease and grace. Thank you for being with us today. I so value and appreciate you and look forward to playing together more.
Me too. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you, Nancy.
You are most welcome. And everyone out there, thank you for joining us, tuning in, whether you're listening live or to the replay. Be sure to connect www.alainaschwartz.com/time. And remember that we've got our 2-day Business of Speaking program coming up this weekend, and you can get all that information at womensprosperitynetwork.com. If you happen to be listening and you're still with us and you're not a member, what are you doing? Join Women's Prosperity Network and tap into this awesome community on a regular basis. We're here to serve and support you in living your best life. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Alaina. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, everyone, as well, for joining and for your comments and participation. So greatly appreciated.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.